Okay, what you're looking at here is a Doyle 410. Hi, I'm Jerry Doyle, the owner of Doyle Audio Engineering, and I'm going to show you some speakers. We build speakers and systems up here in Canada under Doyle Audio Engineering, and we build a line of speakers specifically for a really great company called Brooklyn Gear in the United States. And Adam Levy runs Brooklyn Gear. Actually, I'm really proud to know this guy. He's a good, honest guy, and that's what we look for with our company. I'm still a musician at heart. I care about musicians, and that's why I build the way I build. So let me show you a couple of speakers here. What we've got here on the left side is a speaker that's relatively cost-effective, pretty inexpensive, and then we have a Doyle driver, which is in the Brooklyn Gear cabinets. I'm going to quickly go through the difference between them. Obviously, when you look at them, you see a big difference. The performance of these two speakers are extreme. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to is the performance of a driver. This speaker here, which is a nice speaker, it's not a bad speaker. This is used in probably one of the most popular selling 410s in the United States. However, this speaker compared to our speaker, well, just looking at it, you can see that there's a little more beef here, but there's a whole lot of technology here in this speaker compared to this speaker. It's a good cost-effective speaker, but at the end of the day, considering that our cabins are actually close in price, you should know there's a difference. Okay, let me try and go through them really quick. First of all, obviously this magnet, 66-ounce magnet compared to approximately 54-ounce magnet. The other thing too is that in this bigger magnet we have a larger voice coil. It's a 3-inch voice coil as compared to a 2.5 or sometimes just a 2 or 2.25 voice coil. What's important about this is heat. Heat is really one of the biggest problems with your speaker system. As soon as your speaker heats up, it starts to distort, and literally it can blow. It doesn't handle the wattage as well. As you get towards the end of the night, when the speaker is heating up and doesn't have any way of cooling down, then you get a distorted overdrive sound. That's one of the biggest things essentially about speakers. It also ends up that there's less heat in it, less distortion. You get a nicer sounding speaker. So in this unit here, we got a 3-inch coil. Okay. In this unit here, again, smaller. The other issue that we have here is that we have a different size of plate. Underneath the bottom here, usually a speaker like this is about a 6 mil top plate or less. Here we have an 8 mil top plate. It ends up basically sounding better, having a better heat resistance or heat dissipation of the speaker. Another thing that's just really crazy when I think about the guys that designed the speaker for us is that even the paint that's used on the back here is actually designed to dissipate the heat better. Here you got a sticker. Another thing too that's extremely obvious is you got a vented pole piece. Here you have no vented pole piece. Again, keeping the system cool. It's a lot like the difference between motorcycles that have radiators that are cooling it down as opposed to just oil radiators. Now, another thing that's really great about this vented pole piece is that it's vented around the plate. Whereas you may even see a speaker that might have a vented pole piece, but it doesn't have the venting around the bottom plate. So even though the top plate may have a hole like this, it's not letting the air travel through, whereas this one, it is. So it's extremely well designed. What's the difference? Well, it's a lot more costly in terms of machining your plates. And again, a lot more costly venting it, and a lot more costly having a bigger magnet, a lot more costly to have a plate. There's another element of this system to where we have what's called the pole piece, and the pole piece has a cut, and the way it's cut, it's what's called an undercut. It ends up making a more focused linear magnetic field. For those of you that know a bit about magnetic fields, you'll appreciate that. Trust me on it. So again, it's one of those things we do that costs us a little bit more, but in the long run, at the end of the day, it's a better driver. The other thing, too, I want to point out to you here that's obvious is that this is a cast frame speaker, whereas this is press basket. Again, the cost becomes 2 to 1 in terms of manufacturing, but that's okay. It's worth it to us to put it into the speaker. The other, another element here that I can point out to you, here you can see that you've just got a regular connection or a tab, which, you know, it's okay, it works, but you know, there again, here's where we put our money into the quality of the speaker by putting push-button tabs here. Much solider, better connection with these units here. Again, these little things add up. Now I'm going to talk to you about the cone. The cone here, as you can see, it's an M-rolled cone, a little bit more expensive to manufacture, but it's a better sounding driver and a better sounding tone. Also, the cone here is just a little bit more costly than this particular type of cone. Now, unfortunately, this cone here has a consistent issue with it where it rips around the outer surround. And it rips around the outer surround a couple of years after the warranty. and it consistently does this, and it's sad that the company's never made any efforts to make a change in this cone so that it stops ripping around that particular edge. But I guess at the end of the day, you know, I hate to acknowledge it, but you know, there are some companies that they know if they consistently make a really good speaker that may last you a long time, like what we've got here, then you won't be back to buy a new one. Our philosophy is a little bit different. If we build you a speaker that will outlast everybody else's, then we don't have to spend the money on advertising, etc. And we can utilize the fact that you're going to tell everybody you got a great cabinet, you got a great unit. Now that's a wrap up on the 10s. As you can see, there's a whole lot of a difference between the Brooklyn Gear speaker and, well, we won't say who. Now I'm going to show you something about what's used in 410s that just drives me absolutely crazy. And it is this thing here. It is a little 40-degree horn. It gives you a nice little top-end sizzle. When you're playing bass, you know, it's just this nice little articulation on the upper harmonics. But the problem is that it's a metal diaphragm in here, so tonality-wise, it doesn't sound the same when you're delivering the sound of metal and then using the rest, i.e. as paper cones to deliver the overall tone. To me, it's a lot like using, you know, nylon strings and then metal strings on your bass. You wouldn't do it. The other thing, too, that drives me crazy on this is that this is only about 18 inches off the ground, yet it's a 40-degree dispersion. I can just, you know, explain to you that when you have a narrow dispersion, unless your ears are down by your kneecaps, you're not going to hear it. Unfortunately, what ends up happening with cabinets that use this very inexpensive unit is that the bass players will turn up the top end because they can't hear it on stage, and then the thing starts to distort like crazy because it heats up really quick, and they end up turning it right off. And sadly, what's happening is that the speaker doesn't use the design features that we have in this speaker, and it's never designed to go above 2K, because this combination of this cone with this tweeter sounds really good in the store. It doesn't sound that good on stage. Whereas with this, we designed the speaker to go up really high, but then for that top-end articulation, we will use this. Much wider dispersion, and this is a cone driver, and again, it's paper to paper, and so it gives you a very natural flow from your bass all the way up to your upper frequencies, and it just sounds like they're meant for each other. It's a really, really nice blend, and you'll hear that when you listen to these Brooklyn Gear cabinets. Anyways, that's a wrap-up on speakers. Hopefully we've been able to help you get an idea as to the difference between different our cabinets as opposed to other units. Look under the hood at the end of the day. That's what you got to do. All right, thank you very much. Take care.